This little girl was a top assassin, yet at the moment she was hugging a woman and crying in pain. The agent on the side reminded the woman.
She's faking. Richards, get out of there.
But before she could react, the girl secretly took off her hairpan and settled her. Her name was Hanna and her father was a former CIA agent. Back then, he got tired of killing and escaped the organization with Hanna and her mom. Along the way they were hunted down by agents and her mom unfortunately died. And that took Hanna to hide in this size world for 16 years. Hanna, in order to avenge the murder of his mother, from a young age to accept his dad's special training. Every day, he's just boxing against the trunk of a tree 100 times. In Dad's company, sit 3 sets of push-ups, each group of 80, backpack, weighted running, 8 laps around the mountain. While running, Dad added stones to the back until filled with 30 pounds. By now, her hands have been able to knock down 150 pounds of Dad. Seeing that the time was right, Dad pulled out a picture and told Hanna, "This is the woman who killed your mom." Hanna took the photo and squeezed her to death, waiting for this day for 16 whole years. In the early hours of that morning, Hanna is awakened when 3 military helicopters suddenly appear. Dad recognizes them as CIA pursuers, not realizing that the women are here first. He hurriedly packs up with Hanna and leaves. Halfway there they find a fallen soldier just in time to hear the woman giving him orders, and unbeknownst to him, Hanna behind him is already lunging at him, hand over hand, easily taking care of him. But the pursuers are getting more and more numerous, and father and daughter decide to split up, and they make a rendezvous point. Hanna repeated it in front of her dad, who left without looking back, despite great reluctance in his heart, because she knew this day would come eventually. But as soon as she turned her head, Hanna picked up the soldier's walkie-talkie and said, "Come and get me." Hanna then waited where she was for them to come and get her. Hanna delivers herself to her enemies again, and then Jetty kills them. Inside the special prison, a girl calmly opens a bag of chocolates under the watchful eyes of the guards, and after savoring it, she walks up and says, "I want to talk to your leader." Soon a woman in a suit appeared, claiming to be the boss. Hanna looked at her suspiciously. How could a seemingly soft woman be the leader of this group of criminals? However, Hanna didn't reveal her and suddenly hugged her and cried out in pain. Immediately afterward, Hanna quickly subdued a prison guard, then another and another. After changing into the clothes of a prison guard, she left the prison bright and early. However, the moment she pushed open the door, she was stunned. The prison was built in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. Hanna ran for a long time and finally saw someone. She caught a ride to the train station. However, the agents had been waiting for a long time. Hanna overpowered one of the agents, then grabbed the other as a hostage and jumped straight down. She flew all the way to the train that had already left and managed to shake off the agents. Soon, Hanna arrives at the location agreed upon with her father, and father and daughter are finally reunited. Then, the father took Hanna to live in a rotten building. Now that they are the world's most wanted criminals, the road ahead is even more difficult. That night, Hanna asks her father about her life and why the agents are constantly after us. Her father is hesitant to speak, which adds to Hanna's confusion. The next night, she pulls straight out the DNA report she found in prison, which shows anomalies. Instead, the father's column says unknown. Now the man had to tell the truth. He was indeed not the girl's father. Back then, the military secretly conducted a genetic experiment and went around recruiting pregnant women, and Hanna's mother was one of them. He signed an agreement with the military to make Hanna the subject of the experiment, but soon she regretted it. She begged an agent to steal Hanna away, and that agent is now dead. Knowing that the experiment was all about training children to be killing machines, the dad agreed to steal Hanna out, and after the trio was hunted all the way to her mother's untimely death. This is Hanna's true life. After that year's genetic modification, Hanna has a superhuman body. When she fights, her moves are ruthless and she can take down her opponent in minutes. When running, her heart rate remains stable. Her hearing is several times that of an ordinary person, and she can hear voices several meters away. If she hadn't been stolen, Hanna would have become a killing machine for the organization. And this inhumane experiment continues. Hearing this, Hanna made a decision that she would remember for the rest of her life.
I'm getting them out of this.
Hanna leapt from the tree and easily disposed of the 2 agents. She quickly sent a team to surround the father and daughter. Without a word, Hanna took out her gun and started firing. When the bullets ran out, she started a physical fight. After a fierce battle, father and daughter finally took care of them. They went to the lab and threatened the doctor to lift the confinement and release all the lab girls. Hanna told them, "You are free to leave whenever you want." But none of the girls moved. The crisis has been going on for over a decade, and they have long been domesticated and are simply too afraid to leave without instructions. Just then, a large army is on its way, surrounding the base. At the critical moment, Hanna begs the girls to come with her, but only one girl named Mireille is willing to follow. The others return to their cells like the Walking Dead. The army came after them, and they quickly took care of them. However, Dad was injured. Hanna and Mary helped their father into the car and hurried towards the hospital. However, halfway there, Dad had lost consciousness. With his last breath, he said, "Hide me next to Mom." Then he passed away. Hanna hugged her father's body and cried bitterly for a long time. She followed her father's will and buried him next to her mom. She could finally rest in peace. The story ends with Hanna and Mary walking off into the distance together. No one knows exactly where they will return to. Hanna lost her family at a young age and was forced to undergo brutal training to become a cold-blooded killer. However, in her heart, she still retains the desire for family, friendship, and love. In the process of escaping, she constantly challenges her limits and strives to find her own value and meaning of existence. Hanna Season 1 tells the story of a girl named Hanna who unravels the mystery of her birth during her escape. In the process, she not only has to face her enemies, but also her own inner struggle and growth. That's all for today's story. Remember to like and follow if you like me.